Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create textures in Photoshop. So now I'm going to create a 3D object. Let's create something like sphere. Now I'm going to go to the properties of this sphere and the material. Let's just take a look at this one. So each characteristic of or property of this material has a map. So I can apply texture to it, not just color or slider. Now just the ambient is not available because it doesn't work on UVs. So this is the reason why you don't have a map for that, or it's just an ambient light. So I'm going to now remove the texture so you can see how you can add or remove textures. So for example, now I have diffuse, it has no texture. So I'll be controlling the color from here. Now, if I want to create a texture, I go ahead and say new or load. So new load will give you the ability to apply texture from your let's from a computer. Let's apply one of those. Okay, this one for example. So you can see how my texture is being applied to this object. So let's get back. So I can edit the texture. So now this texture has UV properties and the texture itself. So when I say open texture, you can see Photoshop opens that for me. I can just do anything I want with it. For example, this thing, just anything. Then what I do is I close and I save. Now I'm saving it as a BSD, so this is what Photoshop is doing, and you can see it's being edited. So now the red color doesn't make any difference with me. So because I have a texture. So if I will go ahead and say remove texture, now you can see this will pick up the color that I said to the diffuse. And the same thing for specular. So I can create new texture. If I don't have, I can create a new one. So Photoshop will ask me for the dimensions, and I can say okay, here's my reflection, so I can then edit it. Now black will mean no reflectivity and white will mean fully reflective. So if I go ahead and fill this, then for example, let's just say text, just anything. Okay, make it very big. Now this is very choppy here. Okay, what I'm going to do, just fill it and have another one filled. Okay, this is bad. I'm going to fill the texture and I'm going to create a regular text. So just say text. Okay, make it bigger. Then I'll close. You can see now everything is not reflective, but the text, the area that has the white values, which is the text, is being fully reflective. And you can map anything else. You can map the illumination, the shine, reflection, roughness, bump, opacity, and now you cannot map the refraction. So you have normal and environment. Okay, so let's see now if I want this text to be, for example, I want it to be going away from the surface a little bit. So a little bit of small extrusion. So I wanted to use bump for that. But what I can do is I go ahead and load these. You can see this will give me the textures that I have. For example, sphere material, the specular color. I will take the specular and make it bump as well. Then adjust the value. So you can see I have the same map used for reflection, for specular, and used for bump as well. So if I will go ahead and try to edit this one, this will tell me that the texture sphere material specular color.bsd is contained in this scene in multiple places. Changes to this texture will appear in all places. I want to say okay. So everything I do in this one, for example, create just new layer, paint here, and I'm going to say okay. You can see I have a new specular here, new area, and new bump area. So this is what will happen with it. And you can at any time go ahead and remove the texture. Okay, another thing you have, for example, I'm going to remove, okay, let's just add this one here. Then I'm going to remove it from here. So we'll still add diffuse only. Then I'm going to edit it and just remove this. Go to save. So here's this one is used now as a diffuse. But for example, let's say that this is not the right placement or not the right scale for your texture. What you can do is you click on the texture and edit UV properties. So you can target the composite or any other layers you have. So you can see you can target the background or the text only or the composite. Okay, so what you have is you have your U scale. You can scale it on the U axis in terms of UV coordinates. So let's just make it 200. Okay, I can scale it on the V axis as well. You can see when I scale it a lot, this will be tiled. Then I have U and V offset, so I can change that. Okay, now let's try to go ahead to the bump again. And I'm going to load this one. And you can see the bump is actually not in the right place. So let's see the UV properties for this one. You can see it's the default. So you want to make sure that you align those properly. If you want to use the same texture for specular and bump, so make sure that it's aligned on the UV properties as well. So this is an overview of how you can add textures. Then in another video we will talk more in depth about how you can create textures and paint on your objects directly in 3D space in Photoshop.